Hello, my name is Dani, and this is another episode of Crafting with CITiZAN. Today, we are going to be making angels using oyster shells. Before we get to the craft, though, I'm going to tell you a little bit about why, as CITiZAN, we care about oysters and oyster shells so much.
Oyster shell middens, like this one from Clevel Point in Dorset, are basically a big pile of takeaway containers left by our ancestors. They can help us find out where people and how people lived as far back as 150,000 years ago. This is because oysters have always been easy to harvest and are very nourishing, so they would have been a major part of a coastal diet. Oysters grow in brackish water, which is water that is not quite as salty as the sea, but not fresh water. This makes the estuaries of England a perfect home for them. There is a long history of people gathering oysters in England, with the earliest written sources dating back to Roman texts from 50 BC. Not long after this, people began farming oysters using oyster beds, which can be used to store and grow wild-caught oysters until they are mature. This is a pre-1910 postcard from the collection at Mersey Island Museum, which shows some local oyster beds. These are the same beds from around 1959, and this is a recent photograph taken by a CITiZAN volunteer. Oyster shells and the tools we use to farm them show how important this coastal industry has been throughout history on both the east and west coasts of England.
So these are the materials that I am going to be using today to make my craft. We have part of an oyster shell. We have a little limpet shell right here. We have a cork. We have some dried long grass. We have some dried moss. We have some twine. We have secateurs or gardening shears. And we have my old friend, the hot glue gun. Now, you might not have all of these things in your house, but don't worry about that at all. I'm sure you'll be able to find some substitutes, and you'll see as we go along what each piece is used for. So we are going to start by making the head of our angel. How we do this is we take the secateurs or a sharp knife or whatever you have, and we just gently cut through the cork so that it is about half the size. Just like this. Right, now we only need half of it. Then what we need to do is we need to take our oyster shell. So it's up to you if you want to use the pearly white side or if you'd like to use the rougher outside of the shell. We're going to use the pearly white one today. And you take your hot glue gun, just like this, and you put a little dab of glue right on the middle of the head. Now, if you don't have a hot glue gun, do not worry. You just take it, stick it just like this and hold it. You can use PVC glue or you can use instant glue, or if you have something like Gorilla Glue or something like that, you can use that as well. So you just gotta hold and push, push, push. And once it's pretty much stuck, you can let it dry just like this while you start working on your wings. So the wings that we're going to use today, we're going to use this lovely long grass that I managed to forage. And it's pretty simple how you do this. It's best if you get a couple bits of grass because sometimes they will break. And so basically what you're doing is you're just going to make a little bit of a bow. So you just fold it right like this. And then again, you take your glue and be very careful with this glue because it is very hot. And you just stick your grass together. And you don't need much glue to do this at all. See, a little dab, just like this, will do you perfectly. Just a little dollop, like that. I let it hold, and once it's cooled down a little bit, you can move it around just like that. So there we go. Now we've got our wings. Ugh, it's very sticky, we've got our wings, and we can take our beautiful angel and we can stick these rings right on the back, just like this. All right. You'll need a little bit more glue. It's a little dab right there. Don't worry if your angel wings aren't quite perfect, because you can move it around like this. There we go. Pop it right down. There we are. Now we've got her wings firmly attached, just like this. So the next thing we're going to do, because I quite think that she would like to have some hair, because I know I quite like having hair, is to take a little bit of the glue and to run a small bead along the top, just like this. Now this time you want to wait a few seconds so that it cools down, because you're going to be taking your moss, just like this, and popping it on. There we go. We've got the start of the moss there. Do another little bit of hair right like that. There we go. We've attached her hair. And you can keep going with this if you want. You can put as much hair on as you would like. And the last thing we've got to do really is take another little bit of glue, put it on the top of her hair like that. Take your lovely limpet shell and just pop it on right like that. And there you have it. We've got our angel. So if you want to hang her from a tree, then that's really simple. Pop her over just like this. Get your twine out. Cut whatever length you would like. Just like this. Make a little loop. Put the little dollop on the back. It's probably best not to do it where the wings are, because that's a bit of a fragile spot. And then you just very gently pop and hold your string. There we go. And there we have it. Our beautiful angel. Well, I hope you had fun today learning a little bit more about oyster shells and what they can tell us about the past, and of course, making our lovely angel out of an oyster shell. Now, as you can see, I've put mine in the middle of my wreath, and I would love to see where yours end up. So if you can, take a photo and send us a message on social media or through our email. Now we have lots of other videos on Crafting with CITiZAN. You can find them on our social media or YouTube page. And also there are lots of crafts on the Young Archaeologist website that you can do over the holiday season.